The duo of Batman and Catwoman has been a staple relationship in comics since the year 1940. The two have been in various types of media over 85 years, and today we'll be breaking down the Bat and the Cat's relationship as seen in the video game media, more specifically the Arkhamverse. We start off at the second game in the series chronologically, Arkham Origins Blackgate, a spin-off/sequel to the prequel. This was originally released as a side-scroller for the Nintendo DS and didn't have as big of a budget as the rest of the Arkham games. As a result, all of the cutscenes are hand-drawn as opposed to animated, which I think adds an element of charm and makes it unique. The game opens with Batman in Gotham City sharing some expository inner dialogue, and we find out this takes place 3 months after the events of Arkham Origins, another entry in the series that unfortunately isn't really relevant to this romance, though there will be a few references that will be discussed later. We follow Batman as he observes a crime taking place, and we see Selina exiting a building, climbing atop a roof, and messing with some sort of flash drive that she's just stolen from, in her words, a secret government organization. Batman takes this as a chance to introduce himself, and this is obviously the first time these two are meeting each other, and it's typical first interaction as far as these two go. A little banter, some flirtation on Selina's part, which becomes a theme, and Bruce is all business. Then we see a task force of some sort close in on the two, and while Batman tries to negotiate with the leader of the force, Selina makes her escape. Bruce has to take out the members of the force before another interaction with the Catwoman, trying to convince her to give back what she stole. This leads to a small chase sequence ending in a mini boss fight after Bruce refuses Selina's monetary offer in exchange for protection. After defeating Selina, Bruce learns she stole files to send to her employer, but before he can find out what they are, she throws the device into the city below. The GCPD arrives on the scene in helicopters and Batman leaves, leaving Catwoman in the hands of the cops. 2 weeks later, Batman and Gordon are talking about how there was an explosion at Blackgate Prison and how it might have been an escape plan gone awry. Batman goes to investigate, and upon entering the prison, we see Selina surrounded by three thugs, each from different villain factions, those being Penguin, Black Mask, and Joker. Batman then saves Catwoman, leading us into the next cutscene. She admits she was planning to grab her suit and bolt once the riot ensued, but got jumped so she wouldn't join any of the big three. We get a bit of an exposition dump here for gameplay purposes that we can breeze over. In the end, Selina suggests an alliance so they can get out of the prison, offering to help Batman and essentially be his eyes and ears while he restores powers, saves hostages, and takes down the criminals. She obviously has her own motives, but Batman agrees, telling her not to pull any tricks. From this point, it's mostly just Batman going throughout the prison with Selina in his ear, giving advice, telling him where to go, and offering information. Once we near the end of the game, we see that Selina has, for reasons unknown, tricked Batman into opening Bane's cell for her, and we learn that there were never any hostages, and she has been planning this from the start. She insists she's doing all of this just to pay off a debt. It's clear at this point in her arc, Selina has no sense of morality. When Batman brings up the harm that Bane could cause, she says she doesn't think about those questions and that that's how she sleeps at night. To her, it's just a job. She then reveals she planted bombs around the prison, and this time she's not bluffing. She knows Batman will prioritize those first and foremost. Bruce admits this to himself in Arkham's Shadow.
Distracting the Batman with explosives. Impressive for a common thief.
Nothing common about her. She knew I'd prioritize the bombs.
Her ploy works for now. Batman disarms all of the bombs, and soon the two are face to face again at the docks, where we see Catwoman trying to escort Bane off the island. This leads into the final boss fight. Upon completing it, Batman begins to interrogate Selina again, who admits she doesn't know who hired her and that everything was anonymous, even to her. Bruce and Selina then find themselves surrounded again by the authorities, and the head identifies himself as Rick Flag. He assures them that they are securing Blackgate. The feds take Catwoman away, and while Batman tries to explain to Captain Flag about the cover-up for Bane's escape, Flag reassures him, saying they have Bane in custody, leaving Batman alone on the rooftop. In the end credit scene, though, we learn Catwoman was hired by Amanda Waller, leader of the Suicide Squad, and even though she didn't deliver Bane, Waller got Deadshot and Killer Croc for her team. Due to this, Waller lets Catwoman off the hook with a clean record and thanks for a job well done. This is the basic plot of Arkham Blackgate. It's nothing to write home about, and most fans don't even consider this a proper entry in the series, but since it's the first time Bruce and Selina officially meet in this universe, and it is referenced in 2024's Arkham Shadow, I couldn't not talk about it. Again, it's pretty typical, especially as far as a first outing for these two go. Selena is trying to seduce Bruce pretty much the entire time she's not double crossing him, and Bruce really isn't having any of it. For him, it's all business. This is an early stage in Batman's career, though, taking place very shortly after Arkham Origins, one of his more brutal entries in the series, only 2 years into his crime fighting. We can tell he's still figuring out how to handle situations and deal with his emotions as it relates to his crusade for justice, so it makes sense that he's still going to be rough with his tactics. As for Selena, there's really nothing revolutionary going on with her. It's a very cookie cutter as far as her character goes, stealing for her own gain, in this case to pay off a debt. She's flirtatious, and we get the sense that she enjoys this life she's leading, even relishes it. She says it's just a job, but this is her. I would say she's less morally gray in this entry and leads more toward a villain, even though she claims she's just a thief. I think she crosses a line when she plants those bombs, and while she still has her self interest, I think it's a good thing they don't keep this attitude with her for the rest of the series, and she doesn't actively continue to put people in danger. This game is good enough and serves as a fine preview for Batman and Catwoman's romance moving forward in the series. The next time we see Selena is in Arkham City, where she actually plays a significant role and is even a playable character for a good portion of the game. This is how the game starts out, with Catwoman beating up some thugs and breaking into a safe that we come to find out belongs to Two-Face. This time she isn't as good as a thief as she thinks she is, and the cutscene ends with Harvey putting a gun to her head. This eventually leads to Batman tracing her to the courthouse, where she is tied up by Harvey hanging over a vat of acid. Batman saves her, and Selena almost seems to expect this, with not so much as a thank you, though this would come full circle later on. And this leads to their usual banter, with Selena flirting and Batman trying to get information from her about Protocol 10. This all seems very surface level, and while we don't have a full picture of what happened with the two of them between the events of Blackgate through Asylum, it seems this relationship has little to no substance, and the most we find out between games is in Arkham Shadow, where we hear Selena leave a voicemail for Bruce Wayne, asking him to run away with her to Rome for a few days, suggesting at least some type of correspondence.
Hey, it's Selena. Gotham's a mess, as usual. If it's not bats, it's rats. Which is why I'm jetting to Rome for a few days. Rome's a mess too, but, you know, in a more charming way. Plus, I may have some family there. Or at least I have some questions for Louisa Falcone, even if I won't like the answers. Besides, the St. Gertrude Emerald is on display at the Vatican, and I've always wanted to see it for myself. Hey, fly out and meet me, and maybe we can cash that rain check? Ta-ta for now, boo.
Batman then has to save Selena again from being sniped by the Joker, after which Selena makes another advance. Bruce promptly turns her down though, and the two go their separate ways for the next few hours on their respective missions, with Batman looking into Protocol 10 and Catwoman looking for a way into a Tiger Vault and getting her revenge on Two-Face. The two don't cross paths again until after Protocol 10 has commenced. Selena has just gotten her score from the Tiger Vault when she sees that Batman is incapacitated, lying under a heap of rubble. It's clear he won't be getting out of this one without some help. Here, the player has a choice: leave Arkham City with her loot, or help Batman. In the canon ending, we see Selena as she chooses to help Bruce, saying she'd never forgive herself if she let Batman die. This is already exponential growth from what we saw of her in Blackgate, even if the bar admittedly wasn't that high. Selena drops the suitcases. Here, she even makes a comment to herself about how she's surprised at her conscience and heads to the steel mill to help out her situationship. When she saves him, she doesn't get the expected thank you in return, Batman instead repeating the quip she gave him earlier at the courthouse. I think this is a nice moment. These are two characters who aren't very good at wearing their hearts on their sleeves, Bruce more so it's nice when they can acknowledge how they've helped each other even if they can't say it outright. Batman leaves to take care of Protocol 10 for the last time, and we don't see Selena again until the end of the game when Batman carries out the Joker's body very briefly. From there, the player can finish up her campaign with Two-Face, which upon completing, she and Batman can meet up on certain rooftops throughout the city, sharing a line of dialogue or two, and that is the end of their story in this game. I do really like this game, especially the inclusion of Selena, but upon playing it back, it's really not the best romance, which is in part due to Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, who is a central part of Arkham City's plot and eventually ends up being one of the twist villains. We first hear mention of Talia at the museum after defeating Penguin and Grundy. Batman is told by Freeze that he needs a certain enzyme for his formula that only Ra's would have. Bruce tells Barbara/Oracle, who immediately suspects Talia is the reason, and when Bruce neither confirms nor denies this, she calls him out, asking him what is it about that woman that makes her the most important person in his world. It's clear at this point that Bruce and Talia have history. Oracle warns him not to let Talia get in the way again, which is another element of the story that rears its head later, when Bruce almost picks saving Talia over the lives of everyone in Arkham City. That's an entirely different topic. All of this to say, though, with the inclusion of Talia, one of the Dark Knight's most notorious love interests, it's hard to have her and Catwoman in the same game without having some conflicts. There actually has been a video made on the topic, breaking down which woman Batman from Arkham really loved. It's a solid video, and I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're interested. In the end, this entry in the series felt a bit lacking. I do love Selina's character in this entry as a whole, though. The look, the dialogue, it all fits her to a T. If a little male gazy, but it is Catwoman we're talking about. Bruce has definitely mellowed since Blackgate, which is to be expected. He's more experienced, and you get the feeling he knows how to deal with Selina and her antics by now. I mean, everything she says virtually has little to no effect on him, and I think it's a sign that they've gotten used to this game by now. Again, I love the Batman and Catwoman interactions, but I feel it could have been more fleshed out. The last mainline entry in the series is 2015's Arkham Knight. Catwoman and an extension Batman's story is tied into the Riddler side mission. Most people will save this one for last, chipping away at it as they progress through the story, meaning Bruce will be seeing Selina multiple times throughout the night. We get introduced to the side mission after a certain point in the campaign, and Riddler tells Batman he's kidnapped Catwoman, who is being held hostage on Miagani Island in the Pygmy Orphanage. We're shown this in real time on screen. Catwoman is tied to a chair, and she protests that Riddler has her confused with Robin and that Batman and she aren't all that close. And while they may not be as entangled in this universe as they have been in others, she's obviously just saying this to save her own skin. Riddler ignores this, goading Batman into solving his trials to save Catwoman. Once we make it there, Selina is fuming, demanding an apology from Bruce, which is fair. Batman unties her and sees that she's sporting a fancy new bauble around her neck, a collar that doubles as a bomb if removed too early, courtesy of the Riddler. It needs 9 keys to unlock, all of which Batman must unlock by going through Eddie's trials and puzzles, some scattered throughout Gotham and others via the rooms in the orphanage. There are also a couple of combat sections that Bruce and Selina get to tackle together, a feature that Arkham Knight introduced with her and other characters. It's a smooth system where the player can transition seamlessly between the two and even perform some dual team takedowns when the combo gets high enough. And it showcases how well the two work as a pair. You get the sense that they've worked together between games and have a history, even if we don't get to know about it all. Batman will be in and out of the orphanage multiple times throughout the night, doing puzzle rooms and Batmobile challenges. In between these, Bruce and Selina have many conversations. For the most part, it's just their usual banter, and a lot of the comments Catwoman makes are just about how badly she wants this collar off, which, again, completely understandable. At one point, she even says that Batman ruins her brand and that they should dial it back to known associates for a while after this is all over, and we get the sense that she might even regret being close to him since it's made her a target, something Selina does not appreciate, which is why she's P for the majority of her screen time. Batman, on the other hand, really does seem to care about the situation he's put her in, though, and she does eventually begin to ease up on him as the night goes on. Selina solidifies her stance as an anti hero, profiling herself as freelance, though Batman does try to convince her to join him, something she can never see herself doing. I think it's also important to note that they do know each other's identities at this point, something that was not mentioned in any of the other games. They call each other by their real names throughout. It's not a big reveal or anything of the sort. Selina does mention that she hasn't heard from Bruce since the events of Arkham City 9 months ago, and we get the sense that she's almost offended. There are actually a few moments throughout their interactions where we see Selina's walls almost break down a little and become vulnerable, but she never finishes the thoughts. Bruce brushes this off, saying he's been busy, probably with the people infected with the Joker's blood, and he leaves it at that. Another thing worth mentioning are the Joker hallucinations. These are obviously just subconscious thoughts floating around Bruce's mind, voiced in the form of the Joker. And whenever we leave the orphanage after completing another of Riddler's trials, Joker can give some commentary on Bruce's feelings on Catwoman. He even mentions the late Talia al Ghul a couple of times, basically saying that since she's dead and out of the picture now, being with Selina can't hurt anything, something that was holding Bruce and Selina's relationship back in Arkham City. After some more trials, Batman unlocks the final gauntlet. Selina admits that while this is his mess to clean up, she still wants to see him safe and thanks him. It's a good moment for her, even if she doesn't use so many words to convey what she means. The two finally manage to get the collar off and they can leave the orphanage for the time being. Selina takes the opportunity to suggest looting some museums or checking into a couple of hotels. The city is literally in shambles and she is still trying to get with him. She is determined, I'll give her that, but Bruce refuses, saying there's still work to be done, and Selina opts for robbing an art gallery. Assuming Batman has collected all of Riddler's trophies, Batman can return to the orphanage to be treated to the final boss fight. Selina will show up shortly into it, another team up. Once Riddler and his mech are defeated, we can take Enigma into custody, leading to Selina and Bruce's final scene together in universe. Selina starts out with her usual banter and temptations, which Bruce immediately shuts down, making it clear he's not playing this cat and mouse game anymore. Selina seems immensely offended by this, as if she didn't spend the entire night berating him. I'm sure this hot and cold act has to get old with her. Bruce knows what he needs to do, and he tells Selina it's over for good. He's going away, and whatever they had going on will never come to fruition. At this point, the two share a kiss, the first and last one in the series, a final goodbye. Their time is coming to a close, and Selina tells Bruce to call if he needs her, to which he simply responds, I won't. Then, in Selina's last line of dialogue, she says, I know, I just wanted to say it. It's a really bittersweet moment, and we think about what the two could have had if circumstances were different. Batman drives off, leaving Selina behind, and that's the end of their tale. There is the Arkham episode Catwoman's Revenge, which tells of her revenge on Riddler, but with no mention of Bruce, it's not worth talking about. Arkham Knight has, I believe, the most content for Batman and Catwoman's dynamic, especially when looking at the relationship aspect, something really held back in City for reasons already touched on. There are just so many exchanges between the two, and even when the player isn't learning important information, their repartee and wisecracks are just fun to listen to, and I find myself smiling whenever I hear them. Dialogue can feel a little samey after a while, but I think that this is a good way to show that while Bruce and Selina have apparent feelings for each other, there's really little to no foundation for the two to build a healthy relationship on. They haven't even made it past the casual fling stage from what we see. For all intents and purposes, Catwoman is just a squeeze for Batman in this franchise, which sucks to see. I remember the two having more substance when I first played the games, but there's nothing real here. Very unfortunate, especially considering that I think the writers captured the essence of Bruce and Selina's characters very well. I personally think Selina is better written here than in Arkham City, though I know that's just a personal preference. Bruce, I think, is slightly better in City if I had to choose, but at the end of the day, it's the same character. Batman is exactly who he should be, a beacon of hope and justice who will do anything for his city, even if it means hanging up the cowl. Selina is still just a thief who helps Bruce out if it fits her needs, and she's evolved past whatever the writers did with her in Blackgate. I really don't buy that Selina would plant live bombs, and it's good to see that she's at least moved past that, even if she is a very blatant about her crimes in this entry, admitting to stealing multiple times throughout night, probably because she knows Batman has had too much on his plate to arrest her, assuming he even would consider it in the first place at this point in his career. I think their final interaction really says it all, though, with Bruce putting the mission first as Selina offers him help, clearly not ready for their game to be over, and we're left lamenting what could have been. Quick side note, there are a couple of mentions of Selina in a few other games. Arkham Origins, as mentioned earlier, you can find her name written on a chalkboard in relation to the Falcone crime family in the GCPD. She is also referenced in the most recent entry in the series, Arkham Shadow, via Echoes, which Bruce will have some brief commentary on. Lastly, in 2024's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, we can find postcards from Selina to Bruce suggesting they did, in fact, keep in touch after the events of Night, which leaves some speculation as to where their relationship headed after the events of the game, but nothing concrete. Overall, I think the romance between Batman and Catwoman in this entry was not as fleshed out as it could have been, but it's still filled with a lot of great moments. It's a little cookie cutter, and the writers don't do anything revolutionary with the two storyline, and I wish their romance had played a bigger role in the franchise. There are rumors of a new Arkham game being in development at Rocksteady, so who knows? This universe's story of the Bat and the Cat may not be over yet.